Alright, it's Matt Rosing, and this will be work in progress number, I believe, 10 on the Alpha3 Batman prototype paint up. So I'm in the home stretch here. I finished up the base the other day. Mark approved it. It actually looks freaking amazing. I'm so happy with the way the base turned out. I did have a snafu, unfortunately, the other night. I was putting it together to take pictures of the base and everything, and I dropped this hand, and both of these fins broke off. So I'm in the middle of having to repair those. So you can see they're kind of sanded down, and actually it's not the end of the world, because once I looked closer, I should have done some sanding on them beforehand. So anyway, I've glued them back in place. You can see here. I'll sand them down. I'll have to mask off the hand now and respray them, but it's not the end of the world. It's just it was really frustrating. I was working until 2 in the morning that night. I was like, all right, had a good day, getting put together, take some photos for Mark, and I dropped the hand, and I was really like, I was so mad. I was dropping F-bombs at 2 in the morning, waking the whole family up. So anyway, what I'm going to show you now is, I woke my daughter up. So I showed Mark a picture of the Gatling gun, I keep saying Gatling gun, the grappling gun, and other than one thing, it's good to go. I'm going to do some dry brushing on it in the end here, just to give it a little more shape, but we got some like two-tone, tritone metallics going on. The one thing he wanted a wood handle. So I'm going to show you how you do that real quick, and well, it's actually not real quick, but I'm going to show you how I do it. This is the same way I did it on the Hellboy guns I did earlier, and on the Punisher guns, and I'm using my favorite thing again, watercolors, ghost watercolors. So the colors we're going to use are going to be black, burnt sienna, we're going to use a little yellow ochre, basically wood colors, yellow ochre and some yellow, it's called mid yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some burnt sienna, and I use this straight, I don't water it down. And the cool thing about this technique is that once you're done, not only does it look like wood, it actually feels like wood, because I'm going to be putting some texture into it just through the process. And since it's watercolor, I don't have to mask anything off on the hand. If I get watercolor, I just go in there with a toothpick and I clean it up. So what I have right here is just some of this burnt sienna, and I'm just going to go in here and paint it on. Just right on top of this paint here. And I don't water it down, I just use it straight, so it's kind of thick, but it works to our advantage. And it's going to look really sloppy for a while until I get to the very end of the process, so don't worry about how it looks right now. I kind of use the sloppiness to get the look I want to get. So I'm just brushing it on there, and see I just got some paint on the blue, but I'm not worried about it. I'll clean it up at the very end. Great thing about watercolors is they clean off very easily. The trick is getting it up in here in between the fingers and stuff. But again, I'll get in there with a smaller brush. I just want to kind of get some of this color on here first. You guys can see that. And this will dry darker than it goes on. But what happens is when you brush this on, as you're brushing it on, I leave the brush strokes in there, and that's what gives it the illusion of wood grain. It's a pretty cool little trick I figured out when I was working on the Hellboy. And if it is getting a little thick, I will go in there with just a teeny tiny tad of water. I mean, just the tiniest amount. If it's getting too gunky, and help smooth it out a little bit. But right now we don't care about that. So first you put on here, it looks, ugh, that looks disgusting. Looks really nasty. But it's okay. We're just trying to get some color on there first. So don't be too concerned with how neat it looks at the very beginning. Let's see, I got some on the fingers there. I'm not worried about it because I'll come right off with a little bit of water. I am going to get just a drop of water in my palette here that I can work with. Actually, I'm going to put some in a clean cup because I don't want. Let's see. It's okay. I can use this. Again, actually, Just a teeny tiny bit of water. Now I can just kind of dampen the bristles of my brush a little bit. So just dampen my bristles a little bit, and it just helps smooth it out a little bit. It's okay if you're seeing the underlying paint. It's good to start with a dark underlying paint. You know, this is metallic. You can start with a black, but it's just metallic because that's what I was going to have the handle as, but Mark wanted wood, so we're going to go in here and yeah, it's getting a little thick, so I'm going to go in here and smooth it out a little bit. My bristles are just barely damp. Okay. Trick is going to have to get up around here. I want to be a little neater up in this area. If I can. I'm going to have to get a different brush for this spot. So I'm going to get a smaller brush to get down in there. I've got a little lining brush right here so I can get in there. Oops, see, I forgot to clean my brush. I do that all the time. I get working and I forget to clean my brushes. So I'm just adding a little bit of water to this. Just a touch. So this little handle will take me probably 30 minutes to an hour to get this painted, just this one spot, to get the way I want it to look. So it's time consuming. That's looking pretty messy right now, so we're going to clean it up as we get closer to the end. What I don't want to do is drop this hand again and break the fins again. That would be terrible. So I'm putting a little bit of water on there. It's helping smooth it out a little bit. It's looking a little rougher than I'd like right now. We want to kind of have some texture, but not as much as I have going on. So I'm going to pause until I get this color on. I'll come back. Okay, so I kind of got the first little coat of the burnt sienna on there, and it's not looking real pretty yet, but that's okay. we're gonna get there. I'm gonna get a little bit of black now, and I have been using a little bit of water. this handle's smaller than the previous ones I've done, so the thicker paint is not working the way it worked on the other handles I've done in the past. So I am diluting, I'm making the paint not straight out of the bottom, adding a little bit of water to it. So I'm going to put a black right here. That's way more than I'm going to need. And I'm just going to keep using the same brush. Same brushes, I should say. Add a little water to this. And we're basically just going to go back over this. I don't seal this between layers. I just kind of do a wet on wet technique, meaning that I just keep working the paint while it's wet. So this is going to kind of get messy again. This is one of those processes you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you get the look you want. Basically what this is going to happen is this is going to go in there and kind of reactivate the burnt sienna. That's the idea. So I'm just getting some water. And hopefully we'll start seeing those kind of colors mixed together a little bit. So right there. So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that's gone in there and reactivated that burnt sienna, and they're kind of mixing together. And as I brush on it, as they're mixing, I'm actually getting a wood grain kind of look just from the brush marks. So right now I'm just using water. I'm using a little bit of black that I have on my brush to kind of reactivate that burnt sienna. I hit it with the hairdryer real quick. I haven't put any more black paint on my brush. I'm just using, just a very small amount. I can keep working with the paint that's on my brush already. Basically now I'm just using water. Just going in there and grabbing a little bit of water each time to kind of reactivate those paints and kind of get them to start working together a little bit. I actually have too much black on there, so I'm going to try to take some of it off. You want to try to do long brush strokes if you can. So you want basically just keep working this until you get the kind of the look you want. It's looking a little dark, so what I'm going to do is once I get done with this, I'm going to get this pretty close to where I want, and then I'm going to go back in with some of this yellow ochre to lighten it up a little bit, and then work those three layers together. Now I need to work up in this area of the hand, or the grip. I have a lot of cleanup to do. That's okay. I'm getting more paint on the hand than I am on the grip. Actually, need just a tad of paint. The trick is to kind of get the wood grain to look all the same, a consistent look. That's what's hard. So right now it's not looking like a whole lot, but it's looking more like it should. Just kind of work all the areas. Kind of using that water to get those two colors to work together. I actually have too much paint between the fingers. I need a shorter brush. So I can go in there and try to clean some of that up. A little more water. It's kind of getting caked up a little bit between the fingers here. So I'm just going to get a short brush and try to clean this up a little bit. Get some of that paint out of there. Actually, this might be the perfect brush to do all this. So I just have water on my brush now. I didn't get any paint. That seems to be doing the trick there. If you guys can see that. I'm just getting water, no paint. This is getting closer. We're getting there. It's kind of a slow process. Just kind of keep. There we go. That's showing up in there, but now we're starting to look like wood. And what will. So since this is working, I'm just going to keep working this like this, just with water. And then what I'll do is I'll dry brush it with some of that yellow ochre. And this is where the brush strokes come into play, because it's giving it a sense of wood grain. It's actually leaving a texture on the paint. A little texture. Going a little too far right here. The trick is to get enough paint on there we can leave brush strokes to get the sense of wood grain, but not too much paint that it looks like paint that's been caked on. So that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now. Is I got too much paint on here, so I'm just working with water, taking a little bit of paint off. I'm just working the surface with this brush and water, which just helps smoothing it out a little bit. It's still leaving the brush strokes what I want, but it's taking the paint off and smoothing it out a little bit, and leaving just enough texture in there to give me the sense of wood grain. Just try to take some more paint off. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm just working. So I'm going to pause and do this step, and I'll come back. Okay, so I went through and I worked those colors together, and it doesn't look like much yet, but I got kind of the look I'm going for. Now what I have over here is I've got some yellow ochre and I've got some orange red, and those look pretty loud. What we're going to do is I'm going to start dry brushing some of this on there and see what we got. Now I haven't sealed this. I'm just going right on top of the previous layers. I'm going to just do a little bit. I'm going to get all over the hands too. It's okay. I'm going to go clean these off. Actually, I need a new brush because that one has actually got a little water on it. I don't want any water on this. I just want paint. I don't want to reactivate what I've done. It's a little yellow ochre. If you can see that, just picking up all those brush strokes. That's what I want. So quite a bit of cleanup to do on the hand. This would have been easier if I knew this was going to be wood first. I could have done this. I could have gotten this really, really messy, and that would have masked off the handle like I did prior, and then gone in and done all this. You know, I would have done this first, and then I would have masked off the handle and painted the hands blue and everything, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So I'm just going in there and going over the yellow ochre first. I'm going to go, then we go in here with this kind of orange color. I'll have a lot of cleaning up to do on this gun and everything. Sorry, I'm getting paint everywhere, but it's watercolor, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this. Orange red and go over it again. I may have to draw some lines in there. I'm not seeing a lot of brush strokes. We'll see what happens. I may dry brush some of the burnt sienna on this too. Heck, I may just may. By the time I'm done with this, it may be quicker to I don't know, mask off the gun and respray it. I don't know. I'm getting paint all over it, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have to get in there and do this. It's kind of a pain. That's a lot of work right there. I have to go back and do that hand over. Man. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm taking some of the burnt sienna again, just on the same brush. Problem is I'm not seeing my brush strokes like I saw earlier. I need brush strokes in the paint for this to work. So I think what I need to do is take this previous brush that I was using and really just go in there, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on this to try to get some texture in the paint. I think I know what happened. I think I took all the paint off. I was looking at exactly what happened. Because the the base color is metallic, and I thought it was the black watercolor, but it wasn't. It was the black metallic that I was seeing. So this is a little challenging. Man, this hand is. I hope I can clean this up. That's, man. It's like 2 hours worth of work if I had to go back and redo this hand and this gun. At least 2 hours of work. Could be more. Like just breaking those fins the other night, that's going to add 2 hours additional work I've got to do to fix those and repaint them and get everything blended back together. So just a little, just the tiniest little mess up in this whole process can really set things back. So when I do something very, if I break something in the middle of doing something, I get so mad because it's like you could ruin an entire day's worth of work in half a second. So quick. And you can see this hand, how all messy this is. This is going to take a significant amount of time to clean up. So, but I'm trying to get this. Part of the problem is that the previous gun handles I've done didn't have this much other stuff around them. It was easier to get to the handle. So this is challenging because it's just hard to get to where I need to get with the brush. I really don't want to respray the blue on the hand. That might be something I have to look at. I don't know. If that's the case, I have to go to the store because I'm out of that paint. This is not looking the way I want. I'm struggling right now. Yeah, because what I could do right now, since I'm having I'm struggling. If I would have known this was going to be wood, I would have done this first. If I was having all these the issues I'm having right now, what I would do is I'd do the first layer. I would seal the handle, and then move on to the next step. But since I've already painted everything, I can't seal this. I have to try to do wet on wet. Because if I seal this, I'm basically starting all over on this hand. So yeah, this is very frustrating right now. So this is good for watch. This is good for people that hire commissioners or painters that just. And I'm not bashing Mark because I didn't ask for a reference on this at all. But just the slightest little change, like this, could add an immense amount of work to the project. So if you have a painter, it's like, oh, that looks great. Hey, but can you do this? Well, don't be surprised if they come back and say, yeah, but that's going to cost you an extra $100 or extra $200 because you're adding a significant amount of work to something you've already done. So. Yeah, like the price can change. But this is not going as smoothly as I thought it would. I mean, I'm getting there. The more I play with this, the closer I'm getting. But it should not have taken me this long to do this. To get to this step at least. I'm having a hard time getting paint to stay right there. I may have to try a different technique on this handle since everything around it's already been painted. This technique may not work here. I may have to go in and actually draw draw the grain in. I don't know. I'm having a problem getting brushes where into the areas I need, because I'm trying to avoid just obliterating all the work around it, but it's not happening. See, I can't seal it. See, the problem is I'm having to try to get paint on here, but I keep pulling paint up, and I can't seal this. I can't do a step and then seal it because everything around it has already been painted, and I'm getting paint all over those parts. So I'm stuck with trying to do this without having the option of sealing. In the past ones I've done this, I didn't seal between steps, but I didn't have to get in really tight areas like this. So this is not going as smoothly as I want. I can't get paint on there. Come on. That out. What I need is a small flat brush. What I could do with this, let's see, it's a round brush. So I'm going to mix some of this yellow ochre and this orange together. The orange is too bright. I'm actually going to mix some of the burnt sienna with it too. If you see that right there, that's the look I'm going for. Let's see if I can get there. See there? Looks like wood grain. That's what we're trying to get. So as long as that texture stays there, I can work with this dry brushing. The texture, the hardest part of this process, this technique, is getting the texture right, getting the brush strokes right, and getting the sense that that's wood grain. Once you have that down, then it's just a matter of dry brushing the correct colors on top of it. So right now it's really orange, but I'm going to tone it down. But I think I finally got a sense of wood grain in the handle. Yeah. It just took me a lot longer than I anticipated. So I've been working at this process right here for the past 30 minutes already. Trick is you cannot get too much water on your brush. If you reactivate those layers underneath, you're going to lose all those textures that you built in to try to get a wood grain look. I think it may be there. It's still a little bright, but we're going to tone it down. It's still too orange, but we're heading in the right direction. Okay, so now I'll take some of this burnt sienna and just yellow, burnt sienna and yellow. away from the orange. So if you ignore all the mess around the hand, which I'll have to go and clean up, it'll be fun to do. But we're actually starting to look like wood. It's just it's too orange. I should have used that orange. I need to knock it down with some, probably maybe a little red. Here's some burnt umber, a little bit darker brown. I think that may do the trick. Yeah, that's what I need. I mean, I'm just gonna get the teeny tiny bit of water. All right, there we go. I think that's the color I need. So the color I'm working with right now is this right here. It's this, what is the color I just pulled out? It's burnt umber. I was using burnt sienna before. Burnt umber is what I'm using now. There we go. Use that burnt umber to kind of kill some of this brightness. There we go. So this video, I'm already already at like 25 minutes in at least, and that's just the part that I recorded. Maybe another long work in progress video. Last one was almost 3 hours. Because after I get this done, my goal tonight is to weather the suit on Batman. Which I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot. It shouldn't take too long because I'm not doing a whole lot. We're just gonna give it kind of a worn look. So hopefully that'll go pretty quick. Mostly just a little bit dry brushing here and there. I'm getting just the tiniest bit of water because again I'm getting a caked on look, which I don't want. It's going to take me like an hour to clean up all this watercolor around all this handle. Don't feel like I have the right brush. I almost feel like I need a toothpick in there. I'm using this toothpick to maybe See, the problem is it's so tight right here in this area, I can't get a brush in there to get the effect I want. Going back into this burnt umber to try to kill against it. It's just too orange. I should have used that orange. The bottom part of the handle looks really good. It looks like wood. It's this top part up here that's being a little booger. I just can't get a brush in there. To do what I want. That's going to work. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. I think once I clean this hand up and I seal this, I think we're going to be good. Finally got this kind of looking the way it should. The fun part be getting in there, trying to clean all this up without messing up the work I just did. Crap, too much water. So it looks pretty messy right now, but I'm going to clean up the hand and the gun and then seal this and we'll see what it looks like. So I'll come back. Okay, well, that took a while, but I got the hand pretty much cleaned up. A lot of using a toothpick to get in close to this part. I can go in there and just kind of scrape off the paint. If I put a little bit of water on it, it just softens it up just enough so I can scrape it away like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure this is all really, really clean, and I'm going to go ahead and seal this. And I think we're going to go ahead and do a dark wash on top of this. It's still a little too bright for my taste, but I don't want to keep adding paint to this. It's going to get too thick. So to bring out some, but like it's looking nice. The bottom there's looking like wood grain, here. I just think I need a dark wash to help bring it out a little bit more. So let me get this all nice and clean. I'm going to seal it, and then I'll do a dark wash, and then that should do it for the not Gatling, grappling, the grappling gun. I keep on saying Gatling, but yeah. I mean, it took a lot longer than anticipated. It would have been easier, like I said, if I'd have known this was going to be wood to begin with. I could have done that first, and I could have been a lot kind of more messier with it, I guess is the term, and not worried about having to go back and clean stuff up. But it worked out okay. It just took a lot longer than I anticipated, so it's not the end of the world. So, but it looks pretty good. Alright, so that's it for this. I'm going to seal it. I'll come back and do a wash later. So while I'm waiting for that top coat to dry, I'm going to just go over how I'm repairing these fins. So these two broke off last night. This one actually is an easier fix because there's only a small portion where you can actually see the crack where it broke, because it broke off kind of like down in the socket. This one broke right here, and so what I did is I scraped off the paint on the arm here, and I don't know what this material is, but it doesn't work very well with CA. Like the CA doesn't want to stick to it, so I'm thinking this is actually like a 3D printed part. I think it's not. It's not resin. It's a plastic of some sort. I think this may be actually a 3D printed part, and not a casted part. So, but I could be wrong. It doesn't smell like resin when I sand it, but it doesn't glue like resin. Glue doesn't stick to it well. So what I did is I scraped off the paint down here, added some nice thick CA, and I filled in that with CA also. And now it's sticking really well, good. Now what I have right here is just some 220 grit sandpaper. I'm just sanding these smooth. I'm sanding them all since I'm going to respray those two. I'm just going to go ahead and sand them all down since I got to mask this whole arm up and respray. So I'm just sanding this down to get that smooth. Same with this way. And I know that I'm flat when I no longer see a straight line. So right here you can kind of see like a little straight line where the crack is. So I basically sand until that's gone. Once that's gone, then I know that they should have a smooth surface. So once I'm done with this, with the 320, or 220, I'm gonna take some 600. Right. Actually, not 600. I'm gonna do 800. Which I have over here. Give me 1 second. A little bit right here. So just take some 800 and just go back over with the 800 to reduce those sanding scratches to something that will be easier to fill. Because what I'm going to do is, once I'm done with this, I'm going to mask this whole arm off, reprime these and repaint them, starting off with some black primer and then the black metallic top color, which is what I used on all the others. So, you know, it's not really that hard of a repair. It's just annoying that I have to do it, because I was like, oh, you know, this is taking me an extra 45 minutes or so to an hour just to get these glued and sand, not even to mention the painting part. So yeah, just a little snafu like that can really throw a kink in your production. You know, everything was going really smooth, and then I dropped this dang thing and broke those two fins. I was so mad. But, you know, I just slept on it and figured, you know what, it is what it is. I just got to fix it and move on. So that's part of tonight's work, is to get these fixed and repainted. And then I'm going to work on weathering Batman, which I'm going to start here in a second. So I just want to show you kind of how I fixed those two broken fins. Again, it's not the end of the world. I've had to fix broken models before. It's just really frustrating, especially after all the time I put in on this thing the past 2 weeks. I was hoping to be. I took a day off yesterday because I worked really late Saturday night. I worked like 2 in the morning. So I spent yesterday just getting my new Facebook page going and kind of getting that promoted a little bit. So I was hoping to have this thing done tonight, but it may not happen. So anyway, those are ready to mask off and prime and paint now, but that's where I am on that. Okay, so we're going to weather Batman a little bit. I don't want to do too much to him. We just want kind of a worn look. So you'll never guess what I'm going to use for this. I'm going to use my handy dandy watercolors again. These work really good for that. And these watercolors, I'm going to use a little metallic also. Not too much, because I want to do a little bit on the gun, or on the belt. And basically just on the belt buckle. Let me find out which color I have to do that. So let me get a couple brushes out here. Brushes. I had a really dirty towel the other day. This really dirty towel that's just full of water, you know, watercolors and stuff from previous dry brushing sessions. I'm trying to get better light on this so you guys can see what I'm doing. I need to get better lighting in this room for making videos and stuff. So there's really no rhyme or reason to this. I'm gonna, you know, do a little bit of dry brushing, basically on the knees, kind of like anywhere he would have. I'm gonna take the eagle head off so I want to show you the base real quick too while I'm here. It looks really freaking amazing. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. The last step I did the other night was the vines, and those are a nice kind of like I started out with some browns and blacks, and I went over those some bright greens and just kind of muted it down again. But those look really, really good. The plaques look amazing. They look just like a weathered rubbed bronze plaque, which is what we're going for. Yeah, really happy with the way this looks. So you can kind of tell I've kind of got like a different tone going down here. It's a little more green because I kind of wanted like the brick maybe had some moss on it at one time, or has moss on it. And we're kind of a little warmer up the top here. So, you know, I have two different types of stone. So I wanted two slightly different looks. Same with the eagle head. I kind of did the eagle head the same way as I did this stone. So the brick is a slight green tinge to it. So it kind of looks like it has moss on it, and the rest is a different tinge. Some nice kind of weathering right here. Like there's been, you know, accumulation of dust and stuff. So yeah, I'm real happy with that way that looks, and Mark seemed happy with it too. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dry brush the belt buckle, and I'm going to take him off the base to do that. So put him down here on this. Even though this towel is extremely dirty, he's not going to get it on because it's all dry. So the first thing I'm going to do is just itty bitty, super light dry brushing on the belt here. And let's get and I'm just using a little bit of this is the Vallejo metal color. This is pale burnt metal. Let's see if that's bright enough. I don't want it like super bright. Just put a little bit on my brush, and we'll see if that's the right color. Yeah, it's very slight. So just kind of like this. Barely hitting it. Maybe like you got some scratches on there or something. And that's really about it. Kind of hit the center there a little bit where it'd be worn. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Very subtle. Actually, kind of getting a cool effect. What I'm doing is I've done this before on the Hellboy base. I kind of went in there and I'm actually kind of buffing it out a little bit with this. And it's actually kind of giving it a nice worn look. I'll play out this for a second. I can always mask this off and respray if I don't like it, but I'm kind of digging this right here. Let's see. I got some on his pants. A little bit of water in the Q-tip. Good thing that's water-based. Don't want to get any on the blue, that's for sure. It comes off pretty easy. You guys can see that. Okay, so you're just kind of buffing this paint a little bit. Right in the middle, and the edges are a little darker. So it looks pretty good. Actually, it looks better than the dry brushing. This looks more like wear and tear than anything. So, I don't know if that's showing up, but that looks pretty good. All right, so we're going to put that aside. For the bat emblem, it's a very, very light dry brushing with some gray, like a dark gray. And let me get one of my palettes, one of my nasty palettes I got going on over here. Actually, I'm going to sop up some of this dirty water. Alright. So let's put this there, right there. Got a little bit of black. This black is dried out. Like that. A little bit of white. It's dried out too. So how do you forget to put your lids on your paints? They dry out. Actually, I need more white than I need black. Black goes a long way. This is really there. Okay, and I'm gonna get a smaller brush. Try to control where I'm going with this stuff because I don't want to get it everywhere. I'll take just a tiny little bit of black here. Mix it in with the white. Right there. So basically like this kind of tone of gray. And then I got this dirty towel here. I'm going to rub most of that off. I'm going to come here and just hit this a little bit. Maybe just a teeniest tiny bit of water. Just dried out already. There we go. Just very lightly kind of go over the bat symbol. Get the top of the ears here, corners. There's some nicely molded kind of like damage in here, so I'm going to try to bring some of that out at the top. Again, this is watercolor, so if I don't like what I'm doing, I can always just wipe it right off. That's the beauty of it. Kind of hitting all the corners. Tops of the ears again. I'm going to darken that gray down just a little bit and a little more black to it. Kind of go over it again. It's a little loud, I think. So I can go back and dry brush some black on top and just kind of bury some of that brightness. But there's a lot of good, nice detail that Ivy sculpted in this, so we want to bring some of that out. really going to kind of hit these top corners here. Okay. And I may end up going back when I'm done with all this with some clear black. And I did this on the Hellboy and stuff. Kind of did one, and I did this on the Captain America too. I went a little too far with some of the dry brushing. I just went in with a little bit of clear black and kind of muted some of it. Right now, I think it's a little too even looking, I think. So I just got a little more black. I'm just going to kind of go in there and knock a few little areas down. Gives it another tone. And this brush is actually kind of dirty. It has some other watercolor on it, and I just left it on there because it just adds another little tone variation. Sorry, I need to look at this straight on for a second. Keep thinking I have black on my brush, but I don't have gray. I'm trying to get just a little bit of black on there so I can knock some of this back down. There we go. I'm hitting some of the low areas with just straight black. So it's kind of, when I went in here and did the dry brushing, it kind of flattened things out a little bit. So I'm kind of going in here and just kind of redefining some of the shape. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that was stupid. I just put a little barrel of water on my brush to try to take some paint off, and it really didn't do what I wanted to do. So I'll go back and mess with it a little bit. Sorry, I'm off camera. Sometimes I just gotta look at stuff straight on. Should get like a head mount for my camera. Another bat symbol is more like a dark gray than a black, which is fine. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now it's looking a little worn. So I think that's pretty good right there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to do the weathering, and before I seal it, I'll send a couple pictures to Mark before I seal anything, since this is all watercolor. So the belt buckle looks good. The bat symbol looks pretty good. Oh, also the tip. I'll do this in the last video, but when you're putting them in the base, tilt them forward a little bit, because the pegs go in at an angle. If you try to put them in straight down, they won't line up. Okay, so let's see. So the bat symbol looks pretty good. See much, we got 26 minutes left on my battery before I'm going to switch it out. Let me do one more, let me hit this thing one more time. I should just leave it alone, but I never do. I'm just hitting that. I kind of killed the ears and these top corners a little bit. So I'm going here and just kind of adding a little brighter tone, real light gray. There we go. Okay, it gives a little more shape. Okay, for the blue, what I want to do is mix. Let's work on the gray. For the gray, I'm going to do kind of a light brown, I think. Let's see what this looks like. So right now I've got some burnt umber. A little burnt umber. Maybe a little yellow ochre. Kind of make it look like he's been, and keep the black out there. Let's see what this burnt umber looks like. So right now on my palette I've got the black, I had the white here, I got burnt umber, yellow ochre. I'm just going to leave this all on my palette and I'm just going to work with all those colors. Oops. See if I get some more of this white out. This tube before I throw it away. Come on. There we go. The tube's about had it. It served me well for a year. Alright, so I'm going to get a little of this burnt umber. A little bit of this kind of gray. Basically, I'm just making kind of like a dirty look, like a dirt right here. There we go. Kind of like city dirt would be good. So like right here on the knee. Dry brush some of that on. A little more brown, a little too bright. So maybe a little black on that. Hit that knee. Hit this knee. That's a good color right there. And again, this is going to be subtle. This isn't going to be crazy, loud, dirty, dirty, dirty. Maybe a little bit, kind of like from the thigh. That really hit. Kind of like up here at the arms a little bit. Darken it up just a hair. Top of the legs. You see some wear and tear. That little bit of black in there makes a big difference. Real light with this. I don't want to make him look like he'd been in a battle. I'm not doing like Punisher amount of weathering like I did on the not the Punisher, the Punisher and the Captain America. I did quite a bit. I mean, you're not gonna see this up here because the cape covers it, but we're gonna do a little bit anyway. See that? Kind of just using this brown, this black a little bit. Just kind of trying to make it a little like maybe some soot. I don't want to record this whole process because this could take me a little while. Again, it's watercolor, so it was a little heavy here, so I just added a little water and just kind of knocked it down a little bit. I should put that down. I don't need that anymore. The great thing about this is since I've got all those highlights already sprayed in, I can go over the highlights with darker colors. I won't lose any of my shading because it's already there. It'll just look like there's like dirt on the surface instead. Basically anywhere he would rub against something is where I'm kind of concentrating. I'm sorry. Some more burnt umber. The black and the burnt umber seems to be a good color combination on top of the gray. Again, I got my palette over here. I'm just working kind of all these colors together. Basically just hitting all the high areas. Like that leg, to me, I think that front side is pretty much as far as we want to go. It's too much black. So I think this looks pretty good. I don't know if I want to do any more on that. Again, I'll send these pictures to Mark tonight and before I seal this, because this is all watercolor. I can take it off if there's something he doesn't like. That's why I use them. It's easy to go backwards. That's too dark. Backwards and burn kind of. Gray. Knock that down a little bit. My battery's about to die. I'm going to switch it out here in a second. So I didn't like what that was looking like, so I just kind of went in there with some a light gray and kind of went over it and just kind of blended it in a little bit. So I'm going to change batteries real quick and I'll come back. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so switched my battery out. Just going to continue kind of dry brushing these browns and grays and kind of just, you know, in areas that would get wear and tear. You know, knees, right there, top of the arms, top of the legs, like inside right here. I'm just doing this real subtle. I don't want, this needs to look dirty, a little worn. So hopefully it's showing up in camera. But now he's got some, his legs look nicely dirty, like we've seen some action. Oops. Sorry. I need to turn it around. I'm just going to go into the blue a little bit too here, because that would be the same color. See him right here, I kind of did a little bit. It wouldn't stop right at the pant leg. It's actually kind of a good color. It's nice and dirty on the blue. So I may stick with that. Just kind of all over. Too much. Wipe it off. Got too much water in the brush there. Again, kind of this is kind of the opposite of highlighting. Where the high areas are is where you would, you know, be bumping things and getting wear and tear on the suit. So it's kind of the opposite of highlighting. You're kind of hitting the high areas with dirt and stuff. Bottom of the boots here, line frame down there. So I'm hitting the bottom of the boots a little bit. There's a lid to my airbrush. Rubber would be, the bottom of the feet would have some dirt on them. Really good. Add just a tad bit of white kind of worked it in with the brown. This is when I do this, this is just like a very free-flowing process. I mean, I just kind of go around and hit areas. That kind of makes sense to me. Wipe it off and make it look like there's dirt in the recesses. These feet would be pretty worn out. Not worn out, but they have some wear on them. Too much paint. Yeah. See, I don't think what's happening, so I just wiped it off with my finger. Too much, I'm going to add a little more black. Yeah, that's looking good right there. Let's take them off to do the other side. Let me lower the camera. So off camera, what I was basically doing on the other side is just kind of coming in here at the bottom of the boot, kind of with all these colors right here, and just kind of putting some on. Teeny tiny water. As your watercolors dry out, just add like this teeniest tiny bit of water. You don't want them runny. Just kind of doing this number. Kind of hitting the tops here. And if I want it, if it's looking a little kind of monotonous, I just add a little bit of black in there. Just kind of wipe it with my hand, and it kind of takes care of it. Makes it look more like rubber anyway. Just a little teeny tiny bit of water. This gray is a good color on top of the blue. The kind of gray I got going on here. If it starts to look like it's too obvious that you dry brush, you can put some on and kind of rub it with your hands a little bit. Kind of give it a smeared look. Yeah, see, I don't like that, so I'm going to take it off. Just a little bit bit of water on the paper towel. I can wipe it off. See? Pretty easy. I didn't like what was going on there, so I just took it off. I can wait for that to dry. Let's see. Let's do the other boot. I like the sole of this foot. I like what's going on around the top of the foot. I'm going to put this back on the base. And work on the other foot a little bit. Again, just got my, still using the same three colors. It's brown, burnt umber, black, and white. You have to, why this, excuse me, while you're working with the watercolors, you need to let them dry down because they will change tones. They'll get darker. So as you're working, it may look really kind of loud and bright, but let it dry down before you kind of make a final decision. You want to change something. See, put too much water on there, don't get the right effect. A little too much water on my paintbrush. See, it's going on wet. Now you don't want it to go on wet. You want it to go on kind of dry. Carry it up. The leg. I need to take this eagle head off because it's causing me issues. I can't turn this the way I want. So I hope this is looking how Mark wants. So just kind of a worn look. Used but not abused. I think the gray on the legs is about as far as I want to take this. Because they're looking dirty, like he's been, you know, running around the city like he does. Okay. So you take them off the base again to work on the boots, just because of the angle. And he stands on there. I can't get what I need. white right there. Get too brown. There we go. Don't like that look. Take that out. Whoa! Sorry. I dropped you. Sorry about that. I'll probably go in here with some pastels and kind of hit some of the recesses with some like city filth. That'll help bring out some of the details too. So right now we're just hitting the high areas, kind of like where you would, you know, again, if you would run around the city. That's not good. Let's get that out of the way so I don't do that again. Alright, I'm going to pause because I'm just going to keep doing this for a while. I'll come back when I'm done. I want to show you what I'm doing with the belt real quick. I mixed up this yellow ochre and this white. It kind of made like a bright yellow mustard kind of tone. And initially started with a darker tone. I started dry brushing, but it wasn't worth it. I did this, and I'm just dry brushing this over the pockets, and this making them look like a nice worn yellow leather tone. So that's all I'm going to do on the pouches. Basically, just dry brush this kind of little brighter yellow mustard kind of tone on top. Sorry again, on top of them, and that will give me the look of them being kind of worn and faded a little bit. So that's what I'm doing for those. Just wanted to show you that. Okay, so I think I'm where I need to be on the body. Pretty happy with this. I think it's just the right amount of kind of dirt and grime and stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop working on this, because what I need to do is take some pictures and send them to Mark and make sure that this is what he's looking for. I see a couple areas I need to kind of go in and kind of clean up a few areas that aren't super tight, but for the most part, I think I'm happy with the way this looks. 1 second. Trying to get the app working here. There's a few little areas where I just need to clean up some of the work. Come on. Like down here in the boot area. Clean this up a little bit. Got a little too much. I'm going to go back in with some black later. But I think this is looking pretty good. Nice kind of dirty look here on the chest. I think the legs are looking nice and worn. It's got kind of a dirty rump from working around. One area that I need to work on a little bit is kind of right in here is the crutch of this leg. I think I did the other side. It looked really good. This would be pretty dirty in here. I need a little black. Come on, a little black. All my colors are mixed together now, so it's hard. There we go. You can see all the colors I'm working with right here. Kind of tonal range. Sorry about the shaky camera. Right in here. Maybe dirty right in there. This one's pretty good. Yeah, I think this looks good. So I take pictures and send this to Mark, and then if he likes this, I'll continue on with the hands and the cowl and stuff. Actually, I could probably do it. Next, I have to put the cape on to do that. So I'm going to call the body for now done until Mark approves it. And I'm going to call this work in progress done for this video. It's pretty long. I'm going to go and continue fixing the fins tonight, get that taken care of. And then hopefully Mark will look at this and either approve it or tell me to do something more or less. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. Stop recording. Ah.